That cliffhanger, man. Oh, God. That's a bitch slap of a cliffhanger. Like, bruh. This episode. Okay, so today I'm here to bring you an Assassination Classroom anime review. I am inclined to say that this is one of the best episodes of Assassination Classroom, especially that ending. Like, that last, like, 5 to 7 minutes of this episode, oh my god, oh my god. This episode has so much content to really enjoy and appreciate. It really, really impresses me with how so much stuff could happen in just a 20-minute episode like this of Assassination Classroom. So I want to talk about the first half before I get into the second half of this episode. So the first half of the episode, like the first, I guess, 10, 12 minutes of the episode, you have it to where our group of Class E is up against an assassin, that dude that loves licking his gun, putting it in his mouth, and sucking on it. Kind of psychotic-looking dude. He is versus the E-Class in this episode, and we get to see how Koro-sensei uses tactics to outsmart this assassin and beat him. So, in the broad term of things, you gotta love Koro-sensei. He's very intelligent in the way he acts, especially in the situation where he was positioning his entire class, his students, into different positions to where they could surround this assassin, this pro-assassin, and beat him. Makes me just fangasm. It's fucking amazing. It really is. Like, you gotta love the efforts of E-Class, of how great they are and how much they've accomplished and how skilled they have become since the start of this series. And then also seeing how they spread out and when they were working against this assassin, when, like, Koro-sensei was like, okay, student 12, go this, student 12, 6, or student 6, go this, whoa, student 6, go this direction, student 8, go this direction, go 5 seats to the left, go 4 seats to the right, you know, stuff like that. It was confusing the assassin, and it was so cool. It was so damn cool just seeing that, like, yeah, what's crazy about it is how Koro-sensei was just constantly playing mind games with this dude. Like, he changed up their names, he was positioning to where they got him all surrounded, and then he also had to where one of the E-Class students made himself like a puppet, and then it got shot, and if, you know, one of the actual students stuck their head out, oh god, their head would have been blown off in this episode. Like, seriously, you saw how quick his aim was? Like, let's take a moment to actually look at this assassin, okay? And the broad terms of what this episode really means, it goes to show us that the dude that hired these assassins is not really a skilled assassin, or doesn't really know how to utilize assassins, because the assassins were incredibly strong. I mean, Koro-sensei goes out of his way to actually explain this. He says, like, each individual assassin was actually very good. If they would have been used properly, they would have been a force to be reckoned with. Like, you know, the dude with the gun sucking the gun in his mouth. Like, if he was positioned properly and used right, he would have been devastating. Because let's actually look at what he did in the little time we saw him in this episode. He he instantly shot that dummy in the head. Like, right here. The dummy. Soon as it came up, like, less than a second afterwards, the dummy got shot in the head. That shows you the skill of that assassin, to be able to shoot that quick and then that precise, like nothing. So that dude, if he would have been used right, just imagine how scary he would have been. And that same can go for the other assassin in last week's episode that Karma fed ghost peppers to. I mean, if he would have stuck up behind him and grabbed them by the head or whatever, he would have snapped their fucking necks. They're done. Said and done. Same could be said about the assassin that uses poison, Smog. I mean, if he would have, you know, snuck around and used his poison behind him, dude would have been crazy. They were just hired to be kind of like gunmen. That's kind of what they were. Like, you know, they weren't hired to be assassins, as you can see. They were just hired to be bodyguards. So they weren't really doing their actual job as skilled assassins. So that's kind of what the first part of this episode really tries to emphasize to us as the viewer, just letting us know that these guys, if they would have been in a serious situation, E-Class probably would have been destroyed. Like, they would have been fucking destroyed. So, now that I move past that, let's get into the second part that I really want to talk about. Second part has a lot of beef, like a lot of information going on. Takioka reappears. We come to find out the mysterious voice that we heard is him. The dude that got his ass kicked by Nagisa multiple episodes ago. In a fair match, by the way. In a fair match, he got fucked up. The dude, he's went completely psychotic. Well, he was already psychotic to begin with, how he was acting towards the children, but now he's even worse. He's scratching his face, he's putting, like, scratches, like, oh my god, the scratches in this episode, when you just see him scratch his face, you hear that scratching sound, that's terrible. Oh god, dude, that just, I'm not saying it's terrible, like, you know, terrible bad part of the episode, I'm just saying, like, it's terrible because the sound is, oh god, it's so horrific, man, when you just see the scratching sounds, it's creepy as fuck. And it just goes to show you how psychotic he is as a character to even do something like that, and what his state of mind is at this moment. So, it's not really surprising what he did at the end of the episode if you think about it, when he blew up the briefcase that had the antidote for the virus. And what was even more fucked up is when he elaborates on what the virus actually does to E-Class that, you know, has the virus inside of them. He's like, they'll get boils all over them and they'll die and all that. Like a very horrific death. It's like a death you wouldn't wish on anyone. And he goes to explain what type of events happen, and then he blows up the briefcase right after that with the antidote. And then Nagisa, the look of dread and terror on his face, well executed by this anime studio. Like, my god, the way that was executed in this episode, when the briefcase just explodes, and then you see Nagisa just look around, he just looks at his friend that's infected by the virus, and then all of a sudden, you see him look back, and just the terror and dread on his face as he comes to terms with realizing that majority of his friends have probably just died, like they're sentenced to death. That's what just appeared in his mind. And you gotta take the standpoint as his character, what he is really going through. Like, after you spend so long with these friends, and you're raised with them, like, for months on end or a year, and you know, you come to love them as great friends, and then all of a sudden you see this dude come out of nowhere and, like, kill majority of them like that with a press of a button. Just imagine what type of rage you would feel as a person. And so you gotta really look at Nagisa's state of mind when he says, like, I will kill you. Like, I mean, if you're in that situation, let's be honest here. If that was someone you really care about, like, if your loved ones got killed or sentenced to death, and, like, you couldn't get the cure or antidote anymore, most likely you would go over the edge also. Let's face it. That's the facts. And so, that moment, fucking beautiful, man. Fucking beautiful. Great moment. Great moment of the episode. I have to say, even though Takioka is a scumbag, he's an asshole the way he acted, he's pretty cool. I like him. He's a really interesting villain from what we've seen. Like, he's one of the only main villains I think we have seen throughout Assassination Classroom. If we think about it, Koro Sensei, yes, we know, is the main antagonist of the series because, you know, we have to kill him to save the world. But in terms of arc villains, besides Koro Sensei, Takioka is like one of the first villains we have gotten. And so far, he's very impressive. He goes to show how Assassination Classroom can make villains. Like, it shows what the mangaka can write when it comes to villains, and I like that. I like, you know, Takioka's, you know, psyche and different ways he acts. It really just, you know, hypes him up to where he's creepy, and you have to wonder, can Nagisa hold up against this trained military fighter? I mean, this dude is a hired professional, just like Kurosuma. So can Nagisa actually fight someone like this? So yeah, a lot of questions, a lot of things happen in this episode. Straight up, badass, fucking badass episode. I loved it. Oh my god, dude. Animation on point, music on fucking point, dude. Acting, voice acting, fucking on point. God, I love this series. I love Assassination Classroom. That's why I read the fucking manga. That's why I read ahead. The manga, oh shit, dude, the manga's good. And so is the anime. Fucking good anime, dude. Oh my god, dude. It's like I'm watching these scenes for the first time once again. They're just so damn good. Woo! Okay, I'm done. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.